Morning guys, so welcome back to NZ Marko Kustoms. So this should be 184ish, I think. I'm in the middle of editing, finished editing yesterday's footage and a little bit from the day before, I think. Might be some drag racing footage in there too. I haven't decided whether to put that in there because I was having real issues with my phone focusing at long distance because the back of the lens is quite scratched. It's alright at just normal distance, but anything if I try to zoom in, it just goes grainy. It can't focus, which is a pain in the ass. So I did a little bit of a walk around with some of the cars that were there. Luckily, there was heaps of the cars there, but some of the ones that were closest when I was having a bit of a wander around, I'd videoed as I was walking, but some of the old stuff. I tried to get a couple of clips of the drag racing, but it was because we're sort of quite a distance away from where the start line was and even the track because we're quite a bit off it. I wouldn't zoom in. So, but anyway, the door handles. So we've come to the conclusion that these things here, I did a heap of photo research as I was doing some editing, and it looks like they either come with this style or the style that I pulled apart in the last video, which is this style. So either come with one or the other, because I had a look, I put a 1925 Studebaker standard 6, and obviously it comes up with all the different variations, whether they're like this or the full ones with the full side windows, roll up windows, or whether it was the ones with the open sides but solid tops or coupes or whatever, and they either had that handle or the other one. So I think we're going to try and make these ones. Like the other one would probably be just as easy to make, but to get that resin Bakelite around it might be the easiest to do, if you know what I mean. Like the brass piece or bronze piece or whatever it is around the outside, and then the piece in the middle, and then welded onto a bar. That would be easy enough to do. It's the crap around the outside. It's probably the most awkward, but it's one and a half fucking dozen because I've got to try and make some of these if I can't find enough. I've got plenty of bases for the other ones. I've got lots of these, which are the ones off the other ones, as far as I can tell. But I haven't got many of these. I've got this one, but it's worn out in the centre. Again, I've got that one, but it's all corroded away. So yeah, and we've got to try and make, like I said in the last video, we've got to try and make that, and make that, and make that. So yeah, we've got a little bit of making to do. So we've either got to make some little, we've got to make something to anyway, so we can press them out or something. Whether we do it here or get somebody else to make them, or we just buy some frickin' door handles from somewhere else. But there's some door handles that are similar, but they're offset, whereas the Studebaker ones seem to be centered. I mean they're offset like that, but this here is not dead centered. And it also seems like there was some versions that had suicide back doors. I don't know if they're 25s, but it might have been some of the other non-standard 6 models that had suicide back doors, and then the handles were offset. So, but still look like that or that. But you can tell from the photos that the piece, the piece that goes in the door is offset to it. It's not in the centre, it's offset. But yeah, so there is door handles that are a bit like that. Like I've seen pictures of new ones, but they're not the same, if you know what I mean. So we've got to be careful. We don't buy stuff and then screw ourselves up. If you could go look at it, pick it up, take some bits, compare notes, and you go, oh, that's going to work. Well, you'll probably buy them, but Let's go come all the way from the other side of the world. You know, you might get them here and then you go, shit, now what do I do with them? Apart from on sell them again, and then you're still down door handles. So we'll try and make some bits and pieces, but at the moment, I'm screwing around with the radiator. So I got that bracket back on. I put this on temporarily while we'll paint that eventually. I've got that bracket screwed on with 4 screws at least. I haven't worried about the back, these ones, because they're a bit awkward to get into. But, you know, when we do it properly, we'll rivet that in. So you'll get that screwed on. Some little nuts, well, little machine screws and nuts. Same sort of idea as this, just smaller. I've got all that set up, so I'm going to try and slip that into place shortly. The other thing that was a great success is this stuff here. So that worked perfectly. Had no issues with it drying or anything like that, so I'm absolutely wrapped. It's slightly glossy, but not really. And you can still, what did I put on, about 3 or 4, probably 3 coats on here, I guess. And you can kind of still see the brush stroke marks in it, which is, I think, gives it a little bit of that feel for wood grain. So I'm pretty happy with that. There's a little bit of crap in the dash. There's a little bit of crap on here, sorry. There's a little bit of crap landing in it, but I think it'll be alright. We'll just have to, we'll just clean it off eventually. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on here, try and get it bolted on with that on place, and then I'm freaking half debating whether to put anything else on here, because I need to see whether those hood sides fit properly, because of that shape of the top of that thing. I've actually come back to here. I have taken the rough shape off the hood tops with the curvature. This was a happy medium between the two. They were both close. So it's actually a little bit more curved than what this shows too. But it's close to this side, and there's quite a gap here, but it's not as bad now because I've let these go a little bit. So I might have to just try and put a little bit of shape into this and maybe pull, I don't know, maybe pull this in a little bit. If I can get that to knock in, that'll push this out just a little. We'll see where we go, but I'll hook this in, see if that thing still fits through here. Actually, I might just pull that off that, just make sure it fits through here first, in case I need to clean it out. And then we'll bolt this on and bolt it down. Make sure there's plenty of clearance in there, because I didn't realise it was quite so tight in there. But I think we'll be right. I might have to shorten the bolt. Because I think it sticks up more than there, and through there more than that. I didn't think it used to, but maybe it did. So yeah, I need to make sure that's not going to screw us up and the bolt's too long. So yeah, but I'll check that bits, and then we'll put that back on, and we'll slip that in place, get that bolted there so it can't fall backwards or forwards and damage the crap out of the radiator and the surround, and we'll go from there, I think. That's not a me. Bastard. I'm almost tempted to put fucking studs in the thing. One of the bolts down from the top, putting a nut from underneath. I'm tempted. I could. So I do have a nut for them. It'd be fucking easier. Just means you gotta take the radiator back out. I think that would be easier. Then you can pipe everything down the hole, can't you? I might do that. I can get these in there now anyway. It's probably the safest option too, you're not worried about piping up through the radiator. Back in there again. It's a pain in the arse with that balance in place. Take it off and do that. It's a pain in the ass to take all that apart. It might be fucking easier, ain't it? Oh, well. Jump back to you. So I do get the nuts. Righty, so just doing some test fits, so just actually put the bolts through there and wound them in hard, just to make sure that they will still go through the holes, you know, because there are slightly weird angles, where they sort of poke that way, if you know what I mean, so I wanted to make sure I could actually still get them through the holes before I put that back in there, and I just worked out what way that nose went round, and I had to clear that out because I had too much freaking copper in it again. And I just half adjusted this so it was about the right length. So it's got a little bit of play in it. So not that it matters, but I just, for when if I puddle around and put all this stuff on, I want to have it half by in the right place. So I'll take this back off here and I'll throw it back in there, bolt it back in. And see how this shit fits, and then I might throw 2 or 3, probably 4 or 5 bolts on each side for a hood top, see how that sits, make sure that shit still fits there, and then I can work out what I have to try and do to this thing to make shit fit properly, and just tweak it round, and see if I can get it to fit, maybe space these couple out with a couple of washers when it's bolted into that to try and alter the shape a little bit, and just make sure things still fit. I think it's definitely going to be easier to put the nuts on from the underneath than try and jam the bolts up through and wind in these threads. So it's kind of why I've done it that way. Hopefully these bolts clear, otherwise I might have to knock them down a little bit. Take a little bit of height of one, because it is tight on that one side, but it might be alright like that, but you don't want it to rub because it'll rub straight through the bottom of the tank, so I want a little bit of clearance there. Now we want probably, I don't know, probably don't need that much, but half that thickness. And you want a little bit to allow for jiggle and whatever and flex, and you don't want it to be just missing and then occasionally it's rubbing and then it wears a hole in it. Next thing you piss some water out everywhere. You got to allow for those things. So we'll do that, and we'll come back to you when I've got it all back together again, I think. Righty. So as you can see, it's pretty snug in here. I can get it in, but it's pushing on it. So I'm probably going to have to take that bolt down, but what I want to actually do, it almost looks like this here droops down, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But I'm just going to measure from the top tank to the bottom tank in between, just to see if there is any. No, it's a little, roughly. Yeah, it is. I thought it might have been down further or something like that. 57.5 centimetres, millimetres, whatever. It could be down a little bit. It looks like the top of this tank is a little bit, you know, just the way it's been closed up. It's not terribly good there. Could be sitting a little bit lower. It's hard to know, like any other distances as well, I suppose. What's there? Roughly 72 to the bottom. Yeah, so I don't know. It's feels like it's a little bit like that. So I'm gonna have to clearance that bolt. I'm gonna have to cut it down the head so we can get this in and out without scraping on that and poking a hole in it. Righty, so that's the normal bolt head. Whoa, it's in the right place. So that's the normal bolt head. That's one I ground down. Hopefully it clears now. I've got it pretty thin and I actually ground the copper back off here too. I don't know how thick it was on here, but I just ground it off to try and take a little bit extra thickness off the build up. The rest of it's probably not going to matter, but like I just wanted to make sure that it had clearance because they're going to de-copper it anyway, so I'm guessing. So just want to make sure it clears. So hopefully now I'll get it to fit. Yeah, we're going to try, so we'll have another play and I'll bring you back. Righty, so to create some gap, I've actually put this little bit of timber in there just between the tank and the bolt, which hopefully I can pull out afterwards. So I'm just going to put a few bolts in there and then see if I can pull it out. Hopefully it stays there, give it a little bit of clearance. Right, sorry, I was going to frickin' listen, I frickin' forgot. I had to frickin' check a couple of messages and bits and pieces. But I've got it on. It's bolted down, snuggish, without being super aggressive. Look, it's not going anywhere. I've got just a little bit of space in that bolt. Like that's easy enough to adjust. But that's, you know, like that's in there without being loose sort of type thing, not flopping around. So after lunch, I'm going to tape up down here and probably tape down here. Not so much for this, but for hood sides. And I might throw them on that. See, I'll close it up, sit them on there, and give them a blowdown and a rinse and a wash, just so I can get rid of the dirt and shit off them. I'm not worried about them being dead clean, but just get rid of the crap off them. So I'm not scratching them with the dirt that's on them. And then after lunch, I'll throw some bolts in there and just see how that sits. If I have to fit the fenders or mud guards back on, I will. And then also that will tell me whether I need to undo this and put those little rubber blocks underneath there. I put them underneath there, I've got them in case I need to space it. All that sort of stuff. And I'm also this front motor bracket. I may have to space when we do the final assembly because I think I've got it about right. because I know I've test fitted it a few times and I think I had it about right, but obviously we need to get everything on there to double check that it is all in the right place. I don't know what I'm going to be able to do about this shape. Yeah, I'd like to actually bend. We'll see, we might bend this edge down a little bit, just so it doesn't stick up so much. I'm not sure, I may better just, I don't know whether I can maybe pull this in a little bit here on this edge. Not quite sure how, and that might just pop this up a little bit, and if I have to space this a touch, just to get a little fuller in here and take it a little bit, just take a little bit, even if it's from here, sorry, just bump it in a bit. This will, I've got a little bit of gap there I can play with. I can tweak this a little if I need to. I don't want to get in much, but just a little bit to put a little bit of, just get a little bit of shape in there. But we'll see how the hood sides fit. Maybe once it's all together it mightn't be quite so noticeable, but standing here it kind of, yeah, you kind of see it. Like it's, yeah, I don't know. But anyway, I'll quickly give that stuff a quick wipe down, blow down, and then I'll get out here, have some lunch, and we'll sort it out after. Righty, so, just got back from my lunch, so I'm about to muck around with those hood tops, but first I think I might shoot upstairs and have a look, see if there's any more of door handle stuff I can spot on old bits and pieces, and just see if there's anything else up there. Also, you might notice that frickin' ticking noise is a bit quieter. I got told by some no uncertain terms by William Ironhorse's missus. She basically said, "Shut that fucking thing up." So it's like, well, yeah, I'll have a play. So I stuffed it in 2 boxes and put an old cushion around it and then some overalls. But I just spied up here with some polystyrene or type board insulation, so I might have a wee look to see how thick that is and just see if maybe, it's very awkward because that's the wire that goes into that electric fence unit, solid strand, like it's big thick single strand like fencing wire that just goes in there and goes around the farm obviously to keep stock in. So, and it only gets used during this time of year when there's, I don't know if I can show you or not, but see there's a whole heap of sheep out in that paddock and there's some more out in another one. So yeah, I might see if I can get that a piece of that foam down and see if I can maybe cut some chunks and put in that box and get it even quieter. But it's very awkward because I can't twist and turn that thing around any way I want it. It kind of, if that box was just a little bit bigger it'd be better, but kind of ideal because I'll sit on that shelf quite nicely so that thing won't fall off. So I might try and see if I can shut it up a little bit better, but I'm also worried about, I don't want it to get hot either and overheat and then something else go wrong. That's my other biggest problem with it. I don't know how hot those things get, so we'll try and shut it up a little bit. But that's better than nothing at the moment. And I can take the box off if I have to later on when I leave, as long as I remember. I just don't want it to get hot and then cause a fucking fire. That's the last thing I want to do, trying to quieten it down and then cause another problem. But anyway, I'm going to go up there and have a look to see if there's any door handle parts up there that I may be able to use or whatever. And at least have a little bit more look at that, and then I'll try and get those hood sides on, tops. I've actually got to put some tape on there as well. Yeah, and just have a play with that stuff. Yeah, we'll go from there, I think. Right, so there's a couple of things I want up there. One is the fuel cap off the tank. And one of the hood hold downs, and I want to have a look, see if I can maybe get the pieces off the windscreen posts that are up there, off that other car. We'll at least have a look, get them down here for a sample and see if there's any other bits down here that are the same. I have a hunch that it's for the windscreen when it swings out. But anyway, I've got a piece of this insulation foam down here, so I'll do a couple of quick measurements and I'll just run it through the bandsaw and shove it in there and see if it shuts it up more. Righty, so I actually insulated it with that piece, that thing of foam. I've got it stuffed in everywhere around it to try and insulate it. But you can still hear it, but it's nowhere near as bad, I guess. It's just the noise is resonating through, so there's not much I can do about it, but it's better than nothing. Just kind of have to put up with it. The only other thing you can do is insulate around the box again to try and deaden more sound. But yeah, that is what it is. So carry on now. Righty guys, so I've got these on here now. A wee bit of stuffing around, but it's not terrible the way it sits. I think with weight on it, with the weight of the side on it, it's not sitting 100%, and this isn't sitting dead square, unfortunately. I've got it loose at the bottom now and I can pull it around a little bit, so I might better just manipulate it a little bit when we go to put it on here. I might be, we just might have to wiggle it around a little bit. Righty, so I've got that hood side and top on. I haven't got the other side on. Really almost need the welting on there to get a true, the way it sits. So I imagine, but you got that little bit of, was it welting or whatever the hell they call it underneath there, which is going to hold it up. So that's going to pull everything up a little bit. So when you put the clips and everything on it, it's going to sit up a little bit. It'll sit a little bit prouder than what it is, if you know what I mean. I don't know by how much. It's going to be a little bit. Won't be a heap, but it'll be a little bit by the time you get a bit of thickness all the way from here to here. It's going to hold it up. I don't know, 1/16 of an inch, I suppose, all the way around, which will gather that back. But looks good. Could do with a bloody good clean up. I just push the pin in. It slides in and out pretty easy, so I'm not too panicked about getting it out again. Not that I really wanted to be doing it. But actually I think something here is holding that up, I think. Let's have a wee look at that. Right, now I know what these are for, and they work well. Those little things I straightened out and we almost took them off, work perfectly. Hold the, it's got to have a little bit of welting in there as well, so it'll hold that up, never touches the paintwork. But I think this edge here needs pulled down, just needs tapped down on this thing, which I should be able to do. Just roll it round. Doesn't need a lot, so I need to do that, because I think that's part of the reason why it's sticking up. It sits high here, sitting higher than it needs to be. So it just needs knocked down. I don't know, freaking 1/16 of an inch, quarter of an inch, whole 1/8 of an inch sort of type thing. Doesn't need a quarter, shit, it's way too far, but it just needs knocked down in this corner a little bit. Righty, I think I've had enough for the day. I've pulled that side off. I've tweaked that edge down a bit with whatever size crescent it was, wherever I put it. Down here. With a 8-inch, is it 8? Yeah, 8-inch crescent. No, 10 10-inch crescent. So I tweaked that edge down quite a bit. Went right up to here and come right back down here. I even went down here a bit to try and put it around. I've tried just manipulating this edge too a little bit. Like, I'm just going like this and just giving it a bit of a flex to try and get it to sit a little bit better. But obviously we need that welting, webbing, whatever you want to call it, stuff on there. This is still not sitting square, so I need to twist that bottom bracket. So I'll pull all this back off in the morning. See if I can twist that bottom bracket, which is bolted on. The bottom one that I unriveted. I'll take that out, give it a wee tweak. So I'm pull this corner back a little bit to get this to pull round and maybe, I don't know, tweak that corner up. It won't need bugger all. Just twist it one way or the other. Try and get it to sit a bit nicer. Refit everything again, just make sure it is going to sit happy, and then we can work on spacing up and down. And because if I can space it up and down too, that'll keep it left and right. I think it's not probably too bad left and right. It's sitting all right. It's like the gaps seem to be even at the back, like they're nice and even. On this back edge, like they're sitting, these here sit quite nicely. On here, I'll probably go that way a little bit. Just kind of actually go that way a little bit. I think it's probably a little bit tight here. It's not bad though. And it's not that bad on this side either. It's something similar. Gotta be careful not to pull it too far away, if you know what I mean. Because then it's pointy here. So yeah, it needs twisted. If you can see, it needs twisted like that. There's the brace at the bottom, so it sits around a little bit, and that'll help, I think. There. So I'll pull all that off, pull all that apart, undo the screws, see if I can tweak that a little bit, hold it back together, see if it sits better. And we'll go from there. And then, yeah, and then I can carry on with some of these other pieces and try and get some of this other stuff made to see if I can work out some door handle stuff, and in between I'll keep cleaning these pieces up. And I need to frickin' head out those guys with that frickin' gearbox shit. Because like once I sort of get this dialed in, I can put the fucking motor in. It should have been in, but it's not. But it doesn't matter. But, pain in the ass, it just keeps dragging out another week and another week and another week, and it's frickin' annoying. I'd like to get this shit together. If the car's sitting here with that frickin' radiator on and that and the sides, well, fucking, what does it matter, you know? Doesn't really matter, like everything else works. You know, we can, you know, you probably wouldn't put the front things, but you can test everything, get it all fitted, and then take it all back off, and all you do is put that on and then bolt everything back up. Now you can have everything else on. Like you could even go for upholstery, you know. But anyway, we'll catch you later on. Righty guys, so welcome back this morning. So I've started pulling that stuff off the here to pull the raid shell and everything out, so I can tweak that bracket hopefully and put it back on. The little strips that hold they go on with the hinge and the hood tops, those little strips that are meant to be in there with the little nuts and bolts. I've just given them a quick sandblast. They've already been bricked at some earlier stage, but I just gave them another quick blow over just to clean the shit off, and then gave them a quick wipe down. I've just flicked a half reasonable coat of etch on there, or a fairly heavy coat of etch on there. So I'll let them cure off, and then if there's enough in that black rattle can, I'll spray them. If there's not, I know I need to go get a couple more cans of rattle can black and bits and pieces. I'll go get some more if I run out, but I just want to spray them so at least they're ready to go on properly. They don't need to be too packed or anything in there. They should be fine. Like they're kind of, I wouldn't say they're out of the weather, but as long as I give them a decent couple of coats, they've been etched, cleaned up, so they should be fine, if you know what I mean. Like it's not one of those hypercritical things, and it's kind of out of the worst of the weather. And I don't see it being too much of an issue. So yeah, I'll get them sprayed black, so at least they're ready to go on permanently. at some point. So yeah, I'll get that off, we'll straighten that out, sort that out. And yeah, we'll do that. And then we'll go from there, I guess, depending on how that pans out. Then I might go back to possibly a little bit of wet sanding, but I may also start working out what I'm going to do these door handle pieces. I'll probably start with this one. I need to work it out in my head. What am I actually going to do here? If I can get some little strips of steel and make a little box and then weld that to a flat plate. So if I can get something that's about that thick or a little bit thicker, weld that to a flat plate, weld it square together on a flat plate, so it's nice and clean on the inside, and hopefully it doesn't spread and move, like if I weld it around the edges and tack the edges up and then grind it flat. Then hopefully make another piece that'll slip in there, and we can see if we can at least punch that shape without the window in the middle. We'll work on that first, and then yeah, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do there to punch that window out. That's quite a tricky thing to do. Whether I have to just, I don't know, whether I do that or whether I try and bend up some little strips, just a long strip, and bend it around and make them inside a little jig and tack them together. Tack and grind and weld and whatever. If I had a TIG, I probably frickin' would, but not that I've really used a TIG before, but I'd have a go. Because a TIG would be pretty nice, whereas yeah, it needs to look good. That's the biggest frickin' problem. So we'll have a play at that. So yeah, we'll get that sorted first. So we get that to sit nicely in the hole. Yeah, and then we can space and jiggle it afterwards to get it left and right sort of type thing once we put the car together. As long as we can get it sit square in the hole and those panels sit nicely, if you know what I mean. So yeah. I'm just trying to think whether I maybe should enlarge those bolt holes a little bit more too in the thing. Just so there's a little bit more move around at the bottom. But yeah, we'll get it apart and we'll tweak it and see if we can get that bottom bracket just to sit a bit nicer. So I'll pull it all out and we'll go from there and come back to you. So yeah, it only took a couple of minutes to do that. I don't know why I was trying to do it with the crescent. I just thought it was, click to stand there and look at it, but I think that looks better. I'm thinking. Can I put it together and try, I guess. Can I put it together and try it. Right. Throw the guts back in, do the bolts up, and try it again. So before I bugger off for lunch, so yeah, I got them sprayed, but I need another can. That's only really got one coat on. I'd like to give them another one at least. And I got this on, but I need to find my little bloody spanner to do those. Tweak them up a little bit. I'm not panicked about them being dead tight, but just like to tweak them up a little bit. And I think it's going to fit not too bad. Like I need to get underneath and just tighten the bolts up underneath properly. I think I've got enough wiggle now that I can probably get it in decent position. This is where another freaking set of hands would be handy, because you can get somebody to hold it in position. You can tweak it down, tighten it down, and work out what's going on as you're tightening it down, because you can't see what's going on. It's sometimes where videoing something's handy, because it gives you another perspective while you're doing something and you can't see it. But yeah, it's not always that easy because my tripod's not really big enough. Spotted one on Amazon it comes up to about here, like my eye level, with a phone on it or with a camera on it, which would be bloody handy because that thing's it's okay. I just bought it because it was cheap when I bought my phone. I bought that and a gimbal, the phone, and a microphone, which won't work with my fucking phone. Like just a windsock type one that you can stick on the side of the thing, just to try and get a little bit better audio. At some point I will get one you can put on myself, that'll work. I don't know whether through Bluetooth or got its own sort of type dongle sort of thing. I want one. So if I got the camera on the tripod and I walk away, the audio is still good. Now when I wander over there and come back and I'm talking to you, because I've had the odd complaint, people go, I can't hear you when you're walking away. Well, yeah, no shit, because I'm not yelling. Sometimes I try and pull the audio up a little bit. I'll split it and drag the gain up and then drag it back down in the editing to try and, but then it makes everything else louder too. But yeah, I need to just tweak all those up and bits up. I'll do them after I've gone for lunch. Yeah, so I'll do that after lunch. Yeah, I'll try and remember when I'm going home for lunch. I'll get another couple of cans of spray paint, and I'll go and see if these guys about this frickin' bush for this gearbox. So if I can get that, I can get the motor unboxing, and we're half laughing then. I can start putting everything else together, but I don't want to put anything else together until I got the motor unboxing. I need to put the steering column and all that sort of stuff in as well. So I need to start finishing all this other bits and pieces. But if I can know the gearboxes together and the flywheels on the motor, and then I can tart the bits and pieces up, give it a clean and tart it up, and pull the head off it. We're heading in the right direction. But I've ended up doing all this other stuff because I've been waiting on those bits. So yeah, and I want to get this other freaking car in here. As soon as I get those bits and get that in there, I can actually put a lot of that shit on here, have a wee shuffle around, and I can bring that other car in here and sort of have it half poked up in there, kind of out of the road while I'm finishing this off, and I can start that. And as I get more of these bits on here, I can start putting bigger parts down there until we work out exactly what we're doing. But my biggest problem is waiting on this shit for 3 months now, once we send it away. Or it's 3 months from now, or last week or the week before, whatever it was, last week. So yeah, we're not going to get any of this crap back for at least 3.5 months, I guess. By the time they go through all this shit, trying to sort that out, everything else should be pretty easy apart from that. But yeah, so But that'll give me plenty of time to finish all the little bits off and give me a chance to start that other one. So I want to get it in here. But yeah, anyway, I'll carry on. See you after lunch. Yeah, that'll do. Right, so back from lunch. Went and seen these guys with the bits I'm waiting for. So we've got some bearings. I'm going to check them out in a minute. Another can of paint to spritz up some little bits. But this is one thing that gripes my ass, and it's freaking annoying because, again, somebody that's doing the jobs for you, doing this sort of stuff, you know, a reasonable time frame's a reasonable time frame, but I don't know, I'd have to look back through the videos to check to see when it was. I took those tie rod ends back and the input and output shaft with the bush in it back to that shop, back to the local engineering shop. It would be freaking 3 or 4 weeks ago, I guess. Would it be a month? Would it be a month? I'd have to look. It might not be a month, but it feels like about a month. It might be longer, but it's still sitting in the box in the same place where we dropped it off, and they were meant to get it sorted. So how much fucking long is it going to take? You know, I could have done with that input shaft. Like, the tie rod ends aren't fucking critical at the moment, but that one bush that goes inside the output shaft or the input shaft, so I can put, you know, the input shaft slips into, or the output shaft slips into, sorry. Oh, I can get the ins and outs mixed up. But it was a simple job, really. Like it's one of those things that they could have, you know, they missed it out. You think they'd get it done so I can get it back. Like, and I guess, I don't know whether the tie rod ends are going to go away to be heat treated or what. Like, that's not critical. I'm not panicked about them. Like, they can go on near the last, you know, like we can put all the tie rod ends together in the drag link and all that sort of stuff. We can put that on, you know, when the vehicle's almost finished. You know, it doesn't really matter. But that fucking gearbox input and output shaft and that bush, I could have done with it fucking weeks ago. Just a pain in the ass. Like, it's stopping me from putting the car together. Because that's really the critical part. Like, I need to get the motor and gearbox in it so I can get the rear end finished. You know, like, I'm still waiting on wheels, so but like I can put, I don't need all the rest of it. I can put the guards on, or the rear balance on. Okay, we've got to get that fuel tank sorted, but you know, that can go at any time. I can set up all the brake linkages and the pedals and all that sort of crap underneath, but I can't do that until I get the fucking motor and box in. So yeah, fucking pain in the ass. You know, like, it's all sort of got to go in at the same time. So once it's in, and we can sort all that other small stuff out around it. It's a pain, you know. It would have been nice to have all that done. Like, it's still not going to take me any longer to do, but I could have had a lot of crap off the floor. But anyway, let's have a look at the bearings. See what we've got here. Nowhere near the same width. Fucking nowhere near the same width. Well, it's going to be it really needs to be the same depth. No. It's not even fucking big enough. Fuck. That ain't gonna work. Fuck me. Excuse my French, I'm getting annoyed. Right, you could turn up an adapter to fit that in there, if they have to. But fucking miles away. Imagine being fucking Minnesota. Damn it! Alright. I'll drop that back later. That's no fucking good to me. I had the fucking bearings. Pull that and have a fucking look before you get to it. Alright. Well, everything else looks right. I assume. Better have a fucking I'll have a decent inspection. Just make sure that these are gonna work. Unfortunately, I haven't got the bearing, I haven't got the wheel stuff, except for the race to put this in. So I had to weld that and then to get it out. But I have got that, I can push that into there. And I can do that, but I need to sort this out first. But I think what I'll do is I'll have a quick look, double check the measurements on these, but they said they're the same and they got the part numbers written on them, so that's a start. They all look about right, but I will have a double check because that's fucking miles away. That's no good to me. Yeah, look, if you had to, you could make up an adapter. Right, I think I've got this grill surround radiator support surround whatever. I think I got it reasonable without hanging the sides on there. I'm not 100% sure, but it looks pretty good at the moment, and obviously without having the webbing, welting, whatever you want to call it, around the cowl and around the radiator shell, without that being there. This is about as good as I can tell, but I'll turn the camera around, hold on. So I got a reasonable gap down here. It's not bad, and it's bolted hard down. Like I pulled it up pretty tight, a lot tighter than I had it yesterday, and it's reasonably even. Like, and I can get it, I can give it a twist. So I think we're pretty good. You know, again, like we can pack space, whatever, if we need to get it adjusted, like left to right or whatever. You know, when we go to do the final assembly and got the mud guards or fenders on, or whatever you want to call them, and all those bits and pieces, you know, we can lift it up a little bit, we can pack space, whatever. But I think it's pretty good at the moment. And everything seems to sit reasonable. I'd like that to sit around a bit tighter, but again, with the side on it and the clips on it, it should pull down nicely. Same here, you know, that's going to pull down and sit down nicely. Apart from, you know, the slightly odd shape to one side or the other, I've tried to play with it a little bit. I don't think I'm going to get much out of it, to be honest. And I don't think, can't move too much further back than that, but it's obvious, but it's not obvious, kinda. I might try and see if I can get that down a little bit, but I'm restricted by, obviously, the rad in there. Like, there's only so much I can do with it. So it's kind of, get it as good as you can, and I guess live with it. By the time you get everything else on there, you know, you get the radiator, you get the cap on there, you get the badges on, you get the headlights on there, you get the, the fenders and all the other crap on there. You're not looking at just one thing, if you know what I mean. And it's not that, it's not great, but it's not that bad either, So I think we'll just have to live with it the way it is. It fits all right now. I'm happy with how it fits. It's good enough that I know that I should be able to assemble it, and with maybe the odd spacer or something like that, we can just tweak the final result. The gaps around pretty good around here. For sitting just down on the thing, or it's sitting on top of the valance and bolted down. And again, if you pull the tape off there, it's a reasonable gap down there. It's a reasonable gap down there, so I think it'll be right by the time we get everything else on there. And get you get the stuff underneath it, that lifts it a little bit. That changes things a little bit. So yeah, I think it'll be fine. There's not much else I can do with it, really. Without spending, again, you've got to stop at some point and go, is it good enough? We're getting into the territory of spending quite a bit of money on this thing, and it's, like with doing a full restoration and having to fix everything within reason, the costs build up, and it's taken me several days to clean that up, and then shit was coming off it, so it all adds up. It's another $1,000 there, and another $1,000 there, and another $1,000 there by the time you screw around it and screw around with it and screw around with it. Like, how many lots of $1,000s do you keep adding to the cost, if you know what I mean? So I think we're good. We'll leave it at that, and we'll call it done for now. So, and I'm happy with how that side fitted. I don't know, the other one fitted pretty good when we had it on there. It slipped on, fitted on there pretty good. I'm basically ready for wet sand and polish for that stuff too. So yeah, so I think there's not much I can do with any of the gearbox stuff. Well, there's the door handles. I've got the other one somewhere. I thought I'd put the whole four in together. The other ones are here somewhere. So that's the other one of those. So I get another one of those. I've got to suss out the other one of those. So I'm going to try and get all that stuff gathered together. That needs cleaned up. I don't know whether these painted or whether they were nickel originally. So I've got three, and I know there's a full setup on that, so I can pinch one. And there's more than those ones up there. It's just a matter of finding a good one that's not too hammered. And I know I've definitely got the 4 of them. So that's the inside handles. So we've got to get the outside handles made and built up. So yeah, I forgot to ask about the frickin' headlight stuff too. Man. Anyway, I was mainly worried about the gearbox, but that headlight stuff needs to be done so I can send that away in the next couple of 3 weeks, by the time we get everything else sorted and get these handles made and whatever. So yeah, just trying to decide what I want to do next. I know what I'd like to do, but I can't. Yeah. Right, I'll get myself sorted. I want to have a frickin' straighten up. You're starting to get yourselves in a bloody schmozzle again because I've got bits and pieces everywhere. I might move that crap away from there down to here somewhere out of the road in the meantime. I could fit it, but I won't until the end. And we get a little bit further along with that stuff. So I've still got to put I've got to put the bloody little bits of wood and stuff in there too, so I can do that one of these days shortly, in between other bits. So yeah, fucking man, there's a lot of little things to do on this thing. Holy heck, could do with a bloody hand, I know that sometimes. Just to get it done, Corey. Alright, we'll carry on.